Hello and welcome to the program, Gallantry, Heroic Exploit of the Nigerian Military. I am your host, Godwin Amunde. This week's edition is dedicated to the late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tahirit Lagbaja, who passed away after a brief illness. May his legacy live on. In this episode, we will highlight the bi-weekly press briefing by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, showcasing troops' operational exploits and successes. We will also feature activities and events from the Army, Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force. As always, we will honor our gallant military men and women who have paid the supreme price in the line of duty. Stay with us. Demonstrating a dedication to strengthening indigenous technology and innovation, the Nigerian Air Force launched its 2024 Research and Development R&D Retreat on 5th November 2024 at NAF headquarters in Abuja. The two-day retreat brings together esteemed experts and key stakeholders and focuses on advancing homegrown technology to enhance national defense capabilities. With the team exploring indigenous technology and innovation towards driving NAF transformation, the event aligns with the Chief of Air Staff's command philosophy, which emphasizes cutting-edge R&D, strategic partnerships, and applying valuable lessons learned. The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, spoke on the central role of R&D in reducing foreign dependence and strengthening self-sustained operational capabilities. His first-hand experiences as a field commander underscored the necessity of this shift, especially as the NAV prepares to incorporate 50 new aircraft between 2024 and 2026. He noted that building indigenous capacity for aircraft manufacturing and maintenance will be essential to sustain NAV's fleet sustenance and operational effectiveness. The retreat, he said, provides a crucial platform for experts to generate ideas that will transform the Nigerian Air Force R&D effort from initial concept to tangible operational outcomes. According to a statement signed by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Lushola Akimboyewa, the retreat showcased 6 R&D projects selected for their potential impact on NAV operations. Guests, including industry experts, took a tour of the R&D project, which were on display. Admiralty Medal, aptly represented by the Admiral Superintendent Naval Ordnance Depot, Rear Admiral L.C. Izu, flag off ex-Grand African Nemo 2024 on board NNS Kada on Monday, 4th November 2024. The ex-Grand African Nemo is designed to exercise navies and coast guards of the Gulf of Guinea region with strategic international partners who identify with the common vision of a safe and secure region. It is also an opportunity for like-minded partners to work together to develop African-led solutions to transnational threats and challenges with the strategic aim of promoting regional security. The chief host, the flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral M.G. Omen, expressed optimism that the international nature of the exercise will impact positively on maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea. The Nigerian Armed Forces have achieved significant successes across their operational theaters, showcasing their unwavering commitment to national security. In the Northeast, many terrorists were neutralized, while oil thieves in the Niger Delta region were also brought to book. Additionally, the Eastern Security Network and Biafra agitators were dealt with decisively, sending a strong message. Major General Edward Buba, Director of Defense Media Operations, is set to provide a comprehensive briefing on these operational successes and more in this bi-weekly press conference. The Nigerian military's achievements are a testament to their dedication and professionalism. With continued support and strategic planning, they remain poised to tackle emerging security challenges and protect the nation's interest. Let's join General Buba.
I would like to start by saying that the emotional cost of waking up to the horrific news of the passing of our beloved Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.A. Lagbaja, is quite intense. It is indeed a sad moment for us in the armed forces. It is against this background that, on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, General C.G. Musa, officers and men of the armed forces, express our heartfelt condolences to his lovely wife, his children, and his entire family. We pray the Lord grant us all the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss. I believe in the coming days, burial arrangement for him will be released. Having said that, I know clearly that citizens understand that we are fighting a war against terrorists and insurgents. In this war, we must also understand that in spite of our loss, and a great loss in these circumstances, we have no option but to continue fighting these terrorists, as we all know that they will not stop until they are stopped. I can say that our troops have done a tremendous job of significantly dismantling these terror groups across our nation, particularly in the various theaters of operations that we are engaged in. Our strategy remains to undermine the ability of these terror groups and their cohorts. Accordingly, troops have conducted simultaneous strikes on several terrorist enclaves and their hideouts across this country. Our Air Force have carried out bombardments and air interdiction on several terrorist hideouts and enclaves with precision. These strikes have significantly diminished the fighting capabilities of these terrorists. And it is indeed true that these terrorists know that they cannot match our military strength. They therefore have no option but to either surrender or be killed in the battlefield. Accordingly, I can confirm, without listing names at this time, that we have several terrorist leaders, commanders, and combatants, particularly in the north-central part of this country, that have indicated interest to surrender. For this reason and this purpose, we are opening a surrendering corridor for them. It is noteworthy to state that in October 2024, troops neutralized 481 terrorists we arrested 741 persons connected with terrorism and insurgency, and we rescued 492 kidnapped hostages during the month of October. Troops have also significantly destroyed the terrorist fighting capabilities by the reported outcomes that I just listed. Furthermore, troops recovered 480 weapons and over 9,000 assorted ammunition in the course of the month of October 2024. These recoveries illustrate how troops have diminished the military capabilities of these terrorists. Indeed, troops also denied the oil theft of close to 4 billion naira in the month of October. This speaks to demonstrate how troops have curbed crude oil theft and how our operations have boosted the nation's daily crude oil production in helping us meet our daily targets. Now, the breakdown of recovered items for the month of October are as follows. We recovered 264 AK-47 rifles, 47 pump-action guns, and over 5,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among other items recovered in the month of October. Troops also recovered over 3 million liters of stolen crude oil, over 760,000 liters of illegally refined AGO, best described as diesel, and over 12,000 liters of PMS, best described as petrol, among other items recovered in the month of October. I will now take us through our various operational theaters, beginning with the Northeast Theater, where we have Operation Hadenkei. The troops of Operation Hadenkei sustained the tempo against terrorists and their cohorts in the Northeast Theater of Operation. The troops conducted synchronized offensives between the Air Force and the ground forces. These synchronized offensives struck on terrorist enclaves and hideouts, dislodging them. Indeed, the exerted military pressure on the terrorists resulted in some significant outcomes. Overall, during the month of October, the troops of Operation Hadenkei neutralized 198 terrorists, arrested 166 persons engaged in terrorism and insurgency, and rescued 156 kidnapped hostages in the course of the operations. Troops also recorded 257 surrendered terrorists, combatants, and their families. And this is what we are hoping will soon begin in the North Central Theater of Operation shortly. The summary of recovered items include 73 AK-47 rifles, 1,574 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among other items recovered. The troops of Operation Safe Haven conducted offensive operations that dominated that theater of operation. Accordingly, the plateau has experienced relative peace across the state. These are not my words, these are the words of the state governor of Plateau State. During the month of October, troops of Operation Safe Haven neutralized 30 violent extremists, arrested 140 of them, and rescued 105 kidnapped hostages. The troops of Operation Safe Haven also recovered 19 AK-47 rifles, 834 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among others. Now, the recoveries of these weapons and ammunition are indicative of how we are destroying the terrorist and the violent extremist military capabilities, as well as their fighting capabilities. The troops of Operation Wild Stroke prevailed over terrorists and their cohorts. That operation is engaged in Benue, Nasarawa, and Taraba states. And during the month of October, the troops of Operation Wild Stroke neutralized 20 terrorists, rescued 60 kidnapped hostages, among other items recorded during the period. The troops also recovered 18 AK-47 rifles, 741 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition, among several other items recovered. Let's now cross over to the northwest. The troops of Operation Hadirin-Daji in the northwest remained focused on their mission, and their mission is to create a conducive and stable security environment for agricultural activities and other forms of socio-economic activities in the following states: Kaduna State, Katsina, Kebbi, Sokoto, and Zamfara, all in the northwest. The troops embarked on several offensive operations, canalizing and destroying terrorists in their hideouts and their enclaves through ground and air operations. Nevertheless, troops are confronted with a new terrorist sect in the northwest. This sect is known as Lakurawa. The Lakurawas are affiliated to terrorists from the Sahel, particularly from Mali and Niger republics. They began incursion into northwestern part of Nigeria, namely Sokoto and Kebbi states. And like I mentioned, they came in from Niger and the Mali axis. Now, why are we seeing this at this time? This came as a result of the coup that took place in Niger Republic. Prior to the coup, we had joint border operations with Nigerian security forces, which kept these terrorists at bay. Now, when that coup took place and there was a breakdown of cooperation between both countries, the terrorists took advantage of the gaps in cooperation and made incursions into northwest Nigeria. They exploited the difficult terrains and made incursions into remote areas in our northwestern states. And when they came in, they started spreading their ideology. Now the issue is, when they came in, did the people saw them? What did they do? They embraced them rather than report them. And what has that resulted to? The people saw them as friends. The same friends they thought were friends have turned to foes. And we did not get this report on time until they started creating some havoc. Nevertheless, we are on top of that situation. We have sustained our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, and accordingly carried out air interdiction, ground offensives to degrade these terrorists, find them, flush them, until we finally defeat them, the same way we have defeated terrorist groups in the northeastern part of this country. Troops are locating them, like I mentioned, and we are eliminating them. Still on the northwest, I will say that the troops of Operation Hadirin Daji neutralized 163 terrorists, arrested 82 suspects engaged in terrorism and insurgency, and we rescued 80 kidnapped hostages in the course of the month of October 2024. Additionally, troops recovered 121 AK-47 rifles and over 1,000 rounds of 7.62 millimeter NATO ammunition, among others. Like I said, these recoveries speaks about our degrading the fighting and the military capabilities of these terrorists. The troops of Operation Wild Punch recorded the following in the month of October. Troops neutralized 30 terrorists, arrested over 111 of them, and rescued 52 kidnapped hostages in the course of the month of October. The troops of Operation Wild Stroke equally recovered 9 AK-47 rifles, 16 assorted arms, and over 160 rounds of 7.62 millimeter special ammunition, among other items recovered. The troops of Operation Delta Safe maintained the momentum against the activities of crude oil thefts. Troops continued to find and destroy illegal refining sites, as well as arrest perpetrators of oil theft. Additionally, troops have, through their operations, recorded a progressive increase in the nation's daily crude oil production target, with over 1.5 million barrels per day recorded as at today. During the month of October, troops of Operation Delta Safe arrested 126 persons involved in crude oil theft. The troops also denied the oil theft of over 3.2 million liters of stolen crude oil, over 760,000 liters of illegally refined AGO, as well as over 12,000 liters of illegally refined PMS. Furthermore, the troops of Operation Delta Safe recovered over 429 assorted ammunition, destroyed 195 wooden boats, as well as 216 illegal refining sites, among others. Troops of Operation Udoka conducted offensive operations against the indigenous people of Biafra and their Eastern Security Network terror group in several of the eastern states, killing these terrorists, making arrests, and making recoveries of weapons and ammunition. Activities of the indigenous people of Biafra terror group were recorded in the following eastern states. We had activities recorded in Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Imo, and Enugu states, all in the month of October. In all these incidences, several of these terrorists were killed and arrested. I believe in my earlier briefs, I have released names of those killed and even those arrested. Overall, the troops of Operation Udoka in the month of October neutralized 40 terrorists, arrested 55 of them, and rescued 35 kidnapped hostages in the month of October. Additionally, troops recovered 21 AK-47 rifles and 24 pump-action guns, among several items recovered in the course of our operations. In closing, I would like to say that on the whole, even as we mourn, the armed forces will not allow the tragic passing away of our beloved Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tariq Lagbaja. We will not allow his passing away to derail our focus on destroying the terrorists. We remember him to be a fighter, a warrior. We are inspired by his fighting spirit. So rather than allow his passing away to derail us in fighting the terrorists, we are rather motivated by his actions as a warrior and strong desire as a commander to defeat the terrorists and end the war. We will take a cue from his fighting spirit and end the war. Accordingly, the military will continue to work decisively to kill the terrorists, stop the insecurity, and ensure the safety of our citizens. I urge citizens to be rest assured that the armed forces remains in a good and strong position in this war, and we will win this war.
The Nigerian Air Force has indeed demonstrated unwavering dedication to defending the nation's territorial integrity, consistently upholding its constitutional responsibilities. Over the past year, the Air Force has made significant strides, soaring to new heights in its pursuit of excellence. These accomplishments underscore the Nigerian Air Force commitment to protecting the nation and its citizens, solidifying its position as a formidable defender of Nigerian sovereignty.
November Golf Romeo 913, Charlie 130, requesting change staff from according.
Effective leadership in the military involves strategic decision-making, attention to troops' welfare, and the ability to adapt and innovate.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, the 22nd Chief of the Air Staff, has exemplified these qualities, transforming the Nigerian Air Force with enhanced operational capabilities, innovation, and boosted morale in just 1 year. His leadership has fortified national security and inspired a resilient Air Force ready to meet Nigeria's air power demands. In this documentary, Air Marshal Abubakar takes us through his journey as the 22nd Chief of the Air Staff and how he has been able to turn the tides in favor of the Nigerian Air Force.
On assumption of command as the 22nd Chief of the Air Staff for the Nigerian Air Force, about a year ago, I had to carry out a very detailed environmental scan that covered every aspect of our life as an Air Force, ranging from operations to logistics, administration, engineering, and all the other aspects of our activities. Specifically with regards to aircraft operations, we implemented several initiatives to make sure that we enhanced the efficiency and effectiveness of our operations. Despite these initiatives, we still found that we had a lot of challenges because we were structured initially as a very conventional Air Force. So our assets, our training, and our focus, our equipment, everything was tailored towards conventional fighting. But here we were faced with very unconventional adversaries and also very unconventional kinds of operations, talking about counterinsurgency, counter-terrorism, anti-banditry, anti-kidnapping, and those kinds of unconventional operations. So we had to look inwards to see what we could do within a very short time to make sure that we enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of our operations.
The Nigerian Air Force, led by Air Marshal Abubakar, has modernized the Kaduna Military Airfield with essential upgrades like instrument landing system, solar backup power, and advanced runway lights.
One thing we found is that our airfields limited the kinds of operations that we could do. So for example, we are not able to fly out of a lot of our airfields at night, also in bad weather and some other operational constraints. For example, the Kaduna Military Airfield, which is home to the air component of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation World Punch, we couldn't fly out of that airfield at night. Meanwhile, we found that the adversary changed their tactics. They no longer operated during the daytime. They conducted a lot of their activities at night because they knew that we were limited in terms of tracking them, at night. So we had to make sure that the airfield had facilities for us to be able to operate at night. Not only that, also in poor weather conditions. So in collaboration with the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, we have been able to install instrument landing system, distance measuring equipment, as well as very comprehensive airfield lighting system. So it means our operations against these bandits and kidnappers can take place 24/7, any day, anytime, in all weather conditions, at night. This will significantly boost the effect of our operations against the adversary. We have also carried out similar upgrades and overhaul of our facilities in other airfields, particularly those housing the air components of Joint Task Force operations across the country. So we have done that in Enugu for Operation Udoka. We have also started overhauling the facilities we have at the Port Harcourt Military Airfield, which houses the air component for Operation Delta Safe. And there are other airfields that may not also be housing the air components of operations. For example, the Bauchi airfield, we are overhauling that. But there are also some improvements at the Kano airfield, and it's a continuous process. At the end of the day, the target is to make sure that our airfield facilities are enhanced such that we can carry out our operations day and night, 24/7, in all weather conditions until we rid our country of all the security challenges. One other challenge that we also noticed out of this environmental scan that we carried out, particularly with regards to operation. For example, we had a lot of sorties that on ISR, on battle damage assessment, in terms of also armed recce. So we are flying a lot of hours but no tangible results. And essentially it's because we couldn't carry out some of these operations 24/7 in all weather conditions. But now that we have that, it's not only going to have a lot of effect in terms of we curbing the activities of the adversary, but it's also going to make our rates of effort more efficient, such that we don't have to fly so many missions. We can fly fewer missions, but because they are the right missions at the right times with less resources being expended. So that is another very significant achievement that we'll have as a result of improving some of this airfield infrastructure.
Recently, The Nigerian Air Force has enhanced combat operations with advanced training, UAV integration, precision weaponry, new aircraft, and infrastructure upgrades. Nigerian Air Force has also improved base security by establishing the Base Defense Coordination Center for better intelligence integration and operational efficiency.
My command philosophy as the Chief of the Air Staff is to transform the Nigerian Air Force into an agile and resilient force that effectively meets the air power demands of national security in all operational environments. Now, the missions we do are also in support of surface forces. So in order for these operations to be very effective, we needed to have a very good coordination between the surface forces and our own air assets. So we embarked on very comprehensive training of our personnel in air-ground integration. We have graduated quite a few sets. We have sent them out into the field, and they are carrying out these functions very effectively. We have also instituted a lot of safety measures, and we have instituted a lot of initiatives, and we have a lot of safety training for our pilots, our ground crew. We have also put institutions in the various units at various levels up to the headquarters Nigerian Air Force level to make sure that we really imbibe this culture of safety right from the grassroots at every level. So every personnel is now being exposed to safety education, safety training, and once everybody is aware, we can see the issues as they are arising, and therefore we are able to intervene before an incident or accident happens. One other area we're intervening to make sure that our operations are also more effective and efficient is in the area of the intelligence cycle. The nature of operations we are conducting now is such that it's very, very heavily intelligence driven because of the kinds of adversary that we are fighting. If you don't have very good intelligence, the chances of you having unacceptable collateral damage is also very high. So in order to make sure that that does not happen, we had to do a lot of injection of new initiatives in terms of our intelligence cycle. So now we have a combination of a lot of sources. So the intelligence goes through a lot of cycle from one end to the other. There is also the targeting cycle, because again, due to the nature of adversary who is embedded within the civilian population, sometimes it's difficult to really identify what the target is. So we have similarly a targeting cycle that goes through a lot of process to make sure that before we have a strike, the target is positively identified and confirmed before we have a strike. And if you look, because of these interventions we have instituted in terms of both the intelligence and the targeting cycles, in the past 1 year, we have not had any issues of collateral damage or wrong targets being attacked. So I think these initiatives are really paying dividends. Still, in terms of enhancing our operational effectiveness, we are leveraging the acquisition of additional platforms that the federal government has done for the Nigerian Air Force. These airplanes are coming with a lot of technology, with a lot of capabilities which we did not hitherto have. They are also coming with a lot of advanced avionics. So we have had the King Air 360 coming into the inventory in the past 8 months. We have had the T129 attack helicopters, which we have deployed Operation Delta Safe, and since deployment a couple of months back, we have had a very positive impact in that theater of operations as a result of the injection of these helicopters, because of what they are bringing on board: new technology, precision guided weapons with ability to carry out intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance that really make the conduct of operations more effective and more efficient. We have also had the Augusta 109 trackers coming into the system, as well as the DA-62 special missions aircraft. They have been deployed to various theaters of operations, and they're having a lot of effect. There has been a significant boost in the past 8 months or thereabout in terms of the conduct of our operations. And between now and the end of next year, we have a lot of other platforms coming into the inventory. We have the AH-1 Zulu attack helicopters. The federal government has procured 12 of them coming into the system. That will give a major boost in the conduct of our operations.
Welcome back. Nigeria is mourning the loss of its Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taharit Lagbaja, who passed away after a brief illness. His sudden demise at the peak of his career is indeed heartbreaking. Here is a special tribute to this gallant military officer. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Wednesday, the 6th of November, announced the death of Lieutenant General Taharit Abiodun Lagbaja, Chief of Army Staff. He passed away on Tuesday night in Lagos following an illness. He was 56. This was disclosed in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. Lieutenant General Lagbaja, appointed Chief of Army Staff on June 19, 2023 by President Tinubu, was a respected leader in the Nigerian Armed Forces. Born on February 28, 1960, he began his military career at the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1987, completing his training 5 years later in 1992. Upon graduation, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Nigerian Infantry Corps as part of the 39th Regular Corps. Over his 3 decades career, Lieutenant General Lagbaja held numerous significant posts. He first served as a platoon commander in the 93 Battalion and the 72 Special Forces Battalion, and later commanded various critical security operations across the nation. Among these were Operation Zaki in Benue State, Lafia Dole in Borno, Udoka in southeast Nigeria, and Operation Forest Sanity, an initiative that targeted criminal groups in Kaduna and Niger State. A dedicated military scholar, Lieutenant General Lagbaja graduated from the U.S. Army War College, where he earned a master's degree in strategic studies. This achievement highlighted his commitment to advancing his expertise in military strategy and leadership. Lieutenant General Lagbaja is survived by his wife, Maria, and their 2 children. President Tinubu extended condolences to the bereaved family and the Nigerian Armed Forces, praising the general's distinguished service to the nation. Nigeria is mourning the loss of Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taharit Lagbaja, who passed away on November 5, 2024 after a brief illness. This tragic event marks the 3rd time a Chief of Army Staff has died in office. Let's take a look at the other corps who died while serving. Joseph Akanha, appointed in 1967, just before the Nigerian Civil War. Akanha died in a helicopter crash while traveling back to Makurdi after visiting the front lines in Nsukka. Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru, appointed in January 2021. Atahiru's tenure was cut short when his aircraft encountered severe weather conditions and crashed while on an official assignment from Abuja to Kaduna, claiming his life and 10 others. Taharit Lagbaja, the latest course to pass away. Lagbaja was appointed on June 19, 2023 and played pivotal roles in various internal security operations before his untimely death. These tragic losses highlight the risk and sacrifices made by Nigeria's military leaders. May their memories live on and may their service to the nation never be forgotten. As we bid farewell to this exceptional leader, we take comfort in the words of Winston S. Churchill. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owned by so many to so few. Lieutenant General Tahari Lagbaja will always be remembered as a hero who gave his life for the greater good. Thank you for joining us on Gallantry, heroic exploit of the Nigerian military. Until next week, stay proud, stay informed. Bye for now.